Welcome back to High Stakes. Today, we will be discussing the following NCAAF matches that is happening on Saturday, September 9, 2023. We will be providing our team, total and prop picks for the day. Before we get started, please remember to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. If you want access to our premium picks, you can check out our Patreon page. You can find the link to our Patreon page in the description and comments section below. Vanderbilt vs Wake Forest. Take the Demon Deacons giving the points. And here is why. The Demon Deacons offense had some big turnover in key positions coming into this season, but looked solid against an inferior defense in week 1, piling up 427 yards. Sophomore Mitch Griffiths looked strong in his season debut, going 19-30 for 329 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. Jamal Banks proved to be his target of choice, with a receiver pulling down 6 catches for 108 yards and a touchdown. Tight end Cameron Height hauled in a 69-yard touchdown pass and finished with 91 yards. Wake churned out 98 yards on the ground behind 35 rushes, most of which came late in the action. On the defensive side of the ball, the Deacons held Elon scoreless in the first half and did well throughout the game on third downs, allowing Phoenix to convert just 2 of 16 opportunities. They registered 3 sacks and 2 interceptions. Junior defensive back Malik Mustafa led the team with 9 total tackles, 2 for a loss and a pass deflection. Senior linebacker Chase Jones missed last week with an undisclosed ailment and his status for this game is questionable. Wide receiver Donovan Green remains out with a knee injury. Vanderbilt holds a historical series lead of 10-7, but the last meeting around this time last year was entirely dominated by Wake Forest. The Demon Deacons secured a commanding 20-point victory at home, winning 45-25 and comfortably covering the -13.5 spread. It's anticipated that Vanderbilt will once again look to utilize Alexander, but uncertainty surrounding a couple of their linemen and the prospect of facing a more substantial defensive front could lead to a different outcome this time. Wake Forest appears to have a game plan in place to contain Swan, as they successfully did in the previous season, limiting him to a mere 146 passing yards. When assessing Vanderbilt's performances against Hawaii and Alabama A&M, the matchup against Hawaii appears to provide more significant insights. In this contest, it seems that Wake Forest may lean on their defense to establish an advantage, especially as they face a stronger defensive opponent this time around. They aim to figure things out and gain momentum on offense as the game progresses. Our total pick is take the under 58 points. And here is why. Last season these two put a combined 70 points on the board, and thus far both offenses have been putting up big points. However, both offenses have played some soft teams and now will be forced to try and figure things out against something a bit more real. With that, I think the Wake Forest offense takes a little bit of time to get going. This is only the second game starting for many of the key pieces, and I do think they figure it out as they are a very talented bunch, but I'm not sure they do enough here. Vanderbilt faltered against this defense last season and hasn't altered much on the offensive end. I don't think this one goes the same as last season's meeting. Notre Dame vs North Carolina State. Take the Notre Dame -8 points. And here is why the 10th-ranked Irish were able to kick things into cruise control against Tennessee State. Thus far they have been a well-balanced group, scoring big and allowing only 6 combined points on the defensive end over 2 games. They've given up 162.5 total yards per game and just 55 yards per game through the air. They have also picked off 2 passes, taking 1 to the house last week, and have 3 sacks for a combined 24-yard loss. These stats come against Navy and Tennessee State, so they should be taken with a grain of salt, and the Notre Dame defense knows things will be much different this weekend. The offense has put 98 points over their first 2 games, led by quarterback Sam Hartman, who has 445 yards passing and 6 touchdowns so far. The Wake Forest transfer has found 5 different targets for touchdowns thus far. With big leads the Irish have been able to grind down the clock on the ground, Audric Estem leading the charge with 211 yards on 29 carries and 2 touchdowns. The junior running back also has 3 catches for 33 yards. These 2 collegiate programs have only crossed paths on 3 occasions in their history, with Notre Dame prevailing in just one of those encounters. However, the most recent clash, which took place at Notre Dame's home ground in 2017, saw them emerge victorious with a final score of 35-14. Notably, Wake Forest possesses a notable advantage in Hartman, who is well acquainted with North Carolina State. He showcased his familiarity with the Wolfpack's defense last season by throwing for 397 yards and 2 touchdowns. Despite Hartman's strong performance, Wake Forest ultimately succumbed to a 30-21 loss, partly due to the pressure that led Hartman to throw 3 interceptions. It is less likely that such mistakes will be repeated in this upcoming matchup. The Notre Dame offensive line stands as a formidable barrier, affording Hartman ample protection and minimizing the chances of costly errors. Meanwhile, North Carolina State heavily relies on their quarterback, Armstrong, for offensive production. However, the Irish defensive backs are well positioned to effectively neutralize Armstrong's passing game. Take over 49 points. And here is why. Both teams offer very intriguing matchups in this game. The defenses are solid, especially against the passing game, and both have big-time players in place. However, both offenses also have some strong elements to them that could break out here. I think this is the kind of game that a guy like Armstrong rises to the occasion in. I like for him to do a lot, especially if his weapons are helping out and taking some pressure off of him. We know Hartman is a beast, and he's looking to show his stuff against a team that actually matters. He knows this defense and how to bend them. Utah vs Baylor. Take Utah minus 7.5 points. And here is why. The 1-0 number 12 Utah Utes set the college football world abuzz with their impressive opening game performance against the Florida Gators of the SEC on Thursday night primetime on ESPN. Even without their star quarterback, Cam Rising was sidelined due to a knee injury. The Utes showcased their resilience and depth by securing a comfortable victory. Led by a stout defense and a versatile offense captained by backup Bryson Barnes, 12-18, 159 yards, 1 TD. The anticipation surrounding Rising's potential comeback is sure to inject a potent dose of leadership and precision into the Utes' offensive arsenal, making them even more formidable than they showed against an SEC defense like Florida. Utah's defense, anchored by the formidable duo of Cole Bishop at safety and Jonah Ellis at defensive end, is shaping up to be a force to reckon with this season. Cole Bishop's commanding presence in the secondary, leading the team in tackles, exemplifies Morgan Scalley's defensive mindset. Bishop's reliability in run support and knack for making crucial stops make him a linchpin of Utah's defense. Meanwhile, Jonah Ellis wreaking havoc on the defensive end with 2 sacks in the opening game is a testament to his disruptive pass rushing skills. His ability to pressure quarterbacks and disrupt opposing offensive lines is invaluable. Players like Bishop and Ellis pose a significant challenge for backup QB Sawyer Robertson. With their experience and knack for making game-changing plays, they are poised to exploit similar weaknesses to the ones Texas State took advantage of last week. Against a less experienced signal caller like Robertson, Utah's defense, under the leadership of Bishop and bolstered by Ellis's pass rushing prowess, has the potential to apply intense pressure, disrupt passing lanes, and create turnovers. This, in turn, could translate to a standout performance against Robertson and significantly improve Utah's chances of emerging victorious in their upcoming clash. When evaluating the minus 7.5 point spread favoring Utah over Baylor, it becomes apparent that this presents a more appealing betting option. The absence of Baylor's starting quarterback, Blake Shapen, due to an MCL injury, constitutes a significant setback for the team's offensive capabilities. Quarterback performance often wields substantial influence in determining game outcomes, and with Shapen sidelined for several weeks, Baylor's offense may struggle to find its usual rhythm. On the contrary, while there may be some uncertainty surrounding Cam Rising's availability for Utah, his potential return would likely enhance the team's offensive prowess, given his established track record. Additionally, when assessing recent defensive showings, Utah's defense showcased its strength by containing a team of Florida's caliber. In contrast, Baylor's defense encountered challenges in curtailing Texas State, suggesting potential vulnerabilities. Taken together, these factors make the minus 7.5 point spread in favor of Utah appear as a more promising betting choice. It takes into account the relative strengths and weaknesses of both teams, especially in light of Baylor's starting quarterback being sidelined. Take under 47.5 points. And here is why. Betting on the total going under 47.5 points in the matchup between Baylor and Utah appears to be a prudent choice. Baylor's offense struggled with Sawyer Robertson at the helm, and with their starting quarterback, Blake Shapen, sidelined due to an MCL injury, it's unlikely they'll experience a sudden offensive surge against Utah's formidable defense. Utah's defensive stars, including Cole Bishop and Jonah Ellis, have shown their ability to disrupt opposing offenses, making it challenging for Baylor to find their scoring rhythm. Moreover, Utah's own offensive output in their previous game against a competent Florida defense was limited to 24 points. This suggests that they may not rack up a high score against Baylor either. Given the combination of Baylor's offensive struggles and Utah's defensive prowess, along with Utah's recent performance against a solid defense, it's reasonable to expect that the total points scored in this game may fall below the 47.5 point mark, making the under a compelling bet.